I know. And everything on the internet is forever. It's a bit loud. I mean, it's okay. Just know that you have to take it like 25 centimeters from your mouth. Is it okay? Yeah, but it's okay. Very much like a stadium. Okay, so we are into session 6. Collaborate to innovate, building partnerships with cinemas and third parties. Just a brief, all of you or most of you may know already what Collaborate to Innovate is, but just to get you 2 cents of it, it's a pseudo-new program by Europa Cinemas. This is its 3rd year, that it actually was a very much of a win for Europa Cinemas to get this extra media funding in order to help us create many of these projects that you've been listening to, and especially obviously the 3 that we're going to listen to about today. And the secret is in the name, so it has all this innovation that we're forced to do, to survive. It just helps us to do it and invest on it through collaboration, which, as you all know or suffer, it's it's more and more difficult to get funding if you don't try to collaborate with others, especially when the money goes down. So I think that the call really encapsulates the needs of the current situation. Therefore, just promote you or encourage you, to check at least the guidelines and check the possibilities of all, maybe one of the ideas that you've been thinking today or during the lab or even during the year before coming here. Maybe that's the solution that you need in order to make it work, or at least make this pilot project of it for then get it, kick off and running. Just so you know, this year's call just ended at the 28th of February. So you have a whole year ahead of you to think about what you can ask for and and apply. The call will be out at the beginning of the year, but then the final date to present usually is around the end of February, something like that. So you have time to prepare. Plugged, done. Let's get into the presentations. So we're going to start with Alicia Nieto and the Proyecto Viridiana.
Well, I like a lot of attention, so here I am again. Sorry for the mess. So, well, I'm going to talk about a collaborate project that some independent cinemas we carried last year. Okay. So, concretely, we were like 31 or 32 cinemas. First, I'm going to talk about why we did this project, and then I'm going to talk about what is this project about. So, Viridiana was born thanks to the Collaborate to Innovate program, and it was created to give more visibility to those European films that we consider that have great quality and diversity, but with their traditional tools, they have mostly invisible run through the theaters, or they don't even get to the cinemas. So during the pandemic, many independent cinemas get so much close with the Zoom meetings and with the WhatsApp groups for being updated with the new legislations and with how to reopen in the cinemas. So that union doesn't exist before the pandemic, and we were very close. So when the Collaborate to Innovate project started, we decided to do something together, and some ideas came out, and the best one we chose was the Viridiana, the germ of what later became the Viridiana project. So in this project, we did some paid joint previews screenings of that European films. And before the screening, we did a discussion in one of the cinemas with a talent. The director of the film, it was usually sometimes with an actor of the film. And these discussions was simultaneously streamed to the other cinemas of the network. So one cinema hosted the colloquium, and the other make a simultaneous streaming. And the cinema that was the one that have the talent changed during those events. We carried a total of 11 previews from November 21 to June 22. Usually it was one per month, but sometimes we carried two. And we also, for having more visibility, we hired an external company for making us a website and to look fancy and, I don't know, appealing. Key learnings. What was effective, what didn't work? The key is to have good communication, because we were a lot of cinemas. And we need that everyone has clear when was the date, I don't know, all the technical details. It was so important to check the streaming, because at the end, people wanted to watch a film with a colloquium, and if that colloquium failed, it was a total chaos. Like having an army of angry people is not good for your health. So, well, what was effective? We reached our main objective, like the films that we did the previews in our cinemas work better later when they have their official release in the cinema of our networks than in other cinemas. It is true that the events are more effective in the cinemas that where they have the talent, the hosted one. Because like Piotr said yesterday, like the face-to-face and having the person here is like more appealing. And what was a little bad was we have to chase some of the cinemas because they are not following the schedule, and it's so important that everyone is coordinated. And because of that, we did a lot of meetings. We have usually one before the screening and other after the screening for talking what was about. And also we have meetings for choosing the film and for checking what we are going to do. Well, how we coordinate this, I say before, the key is coordination. Coordination. Why? We were a lot of cinemas, and in our part, Cines Renoir were since the beginning. We were helping with the programming and with all the issues. And after several meetings, we decided that cinemas list that are in Valencia were the coordinators, but we were there since giving support always. And well, and how to attract the audience? Well, the audience is so, I don't know, they love exclusive events and they want to know more about films, so it was easy to attract them. Well, learnings. Okay. So we have made our application following the SMART projects. At the end, you have to know what you want to do, what is your idea, what elements do you have, the budget you have. You have to know what is your objective, what will it cost to get to that. And the SMART objectives is, I don't know, you have to follow, has to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. You have to have these objectives in mind, apply them, and know how to transmit them to someone that doesn't know nothing about your project. I don't know, this is getting more and more to like a motivational speaking, so yeah, but I hope you understand me. So, evaluation. Well, for us it was possible, positive because we have more visibility and we have reached our main objectives. So we have more visibility about our cinemas and the projects that we were doing. And I repeat, we reached the main objective, that is like European films have more visibility. Also, the obvious economic return of the tickets, and also this, the model we create with Viridiana was used in other streaming events that some distributors did. For example, this one is for Avalon, the distributor of Triangle of Sadness, for the preview in Spain, did a colloquium with some cinemas, with a Q&A with Robin Oslund. And also, it was an event of the film Asbestas that was the great winner of our Spanish Oscars, the Goyas. So we are proud of being a part of this innovation. And this is everything. If you later want to talk about believing in yourself and, and imposter issues, talk to me. The questions.
Okay, any question? Yeah.
I was wondering if when you did the project, did you have the movies like planned out somehow for the whole project, or was it like more like this movie is coming out? How soon ahead were the films announced was kind of my question.
We saw the screenings that are going to be released in the year. We have the meetings and talking with the distributors, and we plan which films are better with our audience, and also it has to the date that the talent are available, because sometimes we want a film, but the director was in Alaska, and it was impossible. So it's coordinating the days, the screenings with the distributors, talk and coordinate.
Any more questions? Okay, so then thank you, Alicia. So now we'll go for the second project. Okay. Kaunas Cinema Center, Romuva from Lithuania, Rising Cinema, a new generation of European film ambassadors.
Okay, so hello again. As Javi said, I am Justė from Lithuania. And I will do a presentation on our currently ongoing Collaborate to Innovate project. Thank you. It's called Rising Cinema, a new generation of European film ambassadors. A bit long of a name, but we usually use Rising Cinema. And I will do a brief introduction of the project itself, focusing a little bit more on the collaborative effort, because we are the managing partner of this project. So if we can go to the next slide. Okay, so the general idea, sure. The general idea of the project is to create a new model of education. And the problem that we had is we work with education a lot. And we have a few programs of creative workshops, but they are all for children from 7 to 12. So the age group of 15 to 20 was the one that was not engaged in our cinema. So we were looking for something new and for something that they could both learn and they could express. So the program consists of 3 main parts. One part is special cinema screenings, and we screen either European classics or contemporaries that are already well known and well established. And they are also followed with lectures from a professional art critic and art historian. So both with the screening, they get some information next to the movies. The second part is group meetings with professionals. So the group of children, like we have a group of children that keeps coming back to these meetings, like we work with the same group. I think at the beginning it was like 15 people, now some fell off, but we still have like 10 people coming into the meetings constantly, and I think that's a good group to work with. So we were meeting cinema professionals, we met with a art department person, like set designer, we met with a script writer, we also met with media professionals, so a professional podcaster, someone who writes reviews, so we had those type of meetings. And next to them we have creative workshops, where they actually do their own creative works, and these are two parts. It will be explained more in the next slide. And the main goal of this project is both to educate and to create a platform where they could talk, where they could express their own ideas and their own thoughts. So, because we fully believe that a voice of younger people will reach younger people better than if we are explaining it to them. So it's between the peers. So that was the idea, and that's why it's ambassadors. Yeah? Okay, so the creative workshops part is probably the most detailed, and that's why I will explain it a little bit more. We also have 3 parts to the creative workshops. The first part is that we write reviews, as we have learned in some of the group meetings, so we write reviews on the films that they watched. The second part is they are creating a podcast, so we heard a little bit about cinema creating a podcast and working with professional podcasters. Here we give the voice to the children. So we give them the technology. We had a lesson with someone who does this for a living, so we learned the basics, and now they can try it out for themselves. And the last part, currently ongoing, they are creating a small film cycle. So in the classical screenings, we showed 8 films already, and now they will create a cycle of 3 films so they can try out my job. So they will do a little programming, and I am coming back next week, and we are deciding on the films together. And now I will get to the part of collaborative effort. So this project is done by 3 cinemas. Our cinema located in Lithuania and 2 cinemas in Portugal. So quite a big distance, but it's working out. In my opinion, like the main challenge of a collaborative project is to keep the idea of a project, but to take from other people's ideas without losing the main point. And our key learnings and key values from working with partners or from being a manager is when you are looking for a partner, especially like if you will be preparing a collaborative project in the future, first thing, it's equal willingness to participate. Like if a partner says, I might want to, I might have some time, it's a bad sign. Like if that person really wants to work with you and they have to believe in the project, if they have doubts, it's probably not gonna work out very well. Another thing, probably very obvious, and Alicia mentioned this too, communication skills, because if you're working together, you need to understand each other. And similar work ethic, because if you have deadlines and you have very different understanding of deadlines, sometimes things do not work out as well. And I wrote down, I think, some like practical tips for how to make this work better. And the first one, it seems very obvious, but making partners and meeting people before a certain call. Like you already know those people, you know what they do, so you know that the project with them will work better. Because this time, what we did, actually, we looked for partners after writing the project. And I think while we had good results with some fields, some were a little bit more tricky. And I think if we knew the people we are working with earlier, it would have been more easy to achieve. Second part, if you are having an in-person meeting, do it ahead, not later, because we understood each other much better when we met in person, and keep in touch all the time. Last thing, if you have any issues, solve them together, because I think one of the problems we had is that when people had problems, they tried to solve it themselves, it didn't work, so we didn't want to do anything anymore, but eventually, through communication, it worked out. And I think that is it.
Do you have any? Do we have any questions? Yeah.
Thank you. I just have one question. So you say you are in your country in 2 cinemas in Portugal. So do you all do exactly the same workshops, maybe connected with the same movies, and also at the same or a close time?
Okay, so we share a lot of things. We are showing the same film program, like the classics are the same, and the themes for discussions in group meetings are the same, but they are done by different professionals. So naturally, they of course have their own spin to it, and they have different ideas about what we want to write, what we want to talk about. And the biggest difference is probably that we are screening, each group of youngsters is picking their own program. So we are not asking them to do this together, we are doing it in groups in each cinema. But we are sharing a lot of same points in the project.
Okay, thank you.
Do these reviews and podcasts, do they get published in each website of the cinema, or where do they get, yeah?
Okay, so I should have added 2 links actually, because this one leads to Romuva, but we actually have risingcinema.eu, so it's a project website, and we have a special, well, that special website is used both to present the program and also to upload texts and podcasts. So they are all shared online, and we hope that they can be read, but it's also very important that these people get to try out the tools, but they are published online too.
And that's like their ambassador part, right? The fact that they are published in your website.
Yeah, that's the idea, because they are not only learning, they are speaking about it, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And lastly, for this session, we have Mirona, so the floor is yours.
Thank you. It's okay.
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, it's better. Thank you. It will be a weird presentation. Why? Because first of all, it's first time in my life that I'm presenting something that I'm a bit ashamed of. So it will be a bit difficult, but at the same time, I really thought that it could be very important for other people also to know about some issues that can happen, actually, when we are implementing such a project. So the project is Shifting Pictures, actually Europe Forward collaboration, as you can see in the brochure. But after our common discussion, we thought that Shifting Pictures actually is the better title that can show actually what we have in this project. What we have is that we have 4 events in these 4 cinema that are partnering. The project is still going, so I have to be also careful of what I'm saying, because I really love the project. So we had an event first in Serbia last month. We just have in my cinema, in cinema Muzeul Taranului, last weekend. And the second events will take place in De Bali, the coordinator of the project from the Netherlands, and Kino Piloto in Czech Republic in April. First of all, I would want to say that I would want to ask you, actually, if you are employees of your cinemas, or you are like services providers, because this is a very important question for me, as I am a service provider for the museum in terms of coordinating the cinema. The cinema is just a department and actually a project of the museum. So, of course, implementing and going further with the project, I realized that actually it's quite almost impossible to do things, because I don't have the authorization to do some things. I cannot, for instance, I can prepare the papers, but finally, after some weeks, they can, just return, because nobody will go with the papers farther. The museum is under the Ministry of Culture, so it's quite difficult actually to change the budgets, to ask for permission to change the budget, the annual budget. So it's quite difficult, but of course it's not impossible if you really want. But yeah, so this could be a problem. What I didn't know since the beginning when I said, yes, let's do the project, because I didn't have Justė before to tell me that it's good to, to talk more in advance. And of course, maybe we really like a project, but it will be difficult in terms of partners. We are like every relationship sometimes, yeah, it's good to have also some papers behind. Not only, yeah, we are friends, we have maybe the same values, but at the end it will be very difficult to implement. If you can, yeah, because here, of course, we had in mind the importance of collaboration between cinemas. We all did other projects with other, maybe third parties or other cinemas, but of course, I think instead of the Bali, which is a very strong center in debating and debates and screenings, I think the others are, like less experienced. So maybe this is also a name of Europa Cinema's projects, to learn from each other and to make, the others also to work better and to be more efficient. But it was not the case. We didn't learn so much, unfortunately. But yeah, this was our, let's say, thoughts that, yeah, it's good to collaborate, it's good to have new ideas, it's good to maybe to expand the network, to get more visibility, not only nationally, but also internationally. We can also go a bit further. And of course, many pluses. We can, yeah, go. This I can share. I mean, if it's somebody that's interested. But now, returning to the project itself. So actually, we were not at the first discussion when the Bali thought about this daring project. Another Romanian cinema was in the discussions, but they, after, I don't know, a few weeks, they changed their mind, and then, because they know me and they know what other projects I implemented until now, they asked me personally if I'm interested to join to such a project. I read it. First, I didn't like that much. Why? Because it was also on linked with social topics. And in my case, I mean, it's very risky to mix art house and, authorial approaches with very burdened social issues. But at the same time, it was risky and challenging because, yeah, you can bring other audience which can be interested in the debates that we are organizing additional to the screenings. So I said, yeah, maybe it's actually a good idea to enlarge the audience that we have, not only authorial oriented, but also, interested in the discussions, in the burden topics of Europe right now. And yeah, then I went further to the manager of the museum, and he said, yeah, it looks interesting. Maybe it's a good idea to take part. So we didn't had our own, input even in the writing of the project, because you manage you realize that maybe there are some differences in our way of work, our way of vision of the project. But we said, actually, we had a conversation, of course, but they said, yeah, you are totally right. Of course, we don't want to go only to the social things. Of course, we are also art house oriented, so no worries, it will be good. And in terms of content, it was. We also had a very interesting in-person meeting in July last year at the Bali. Actually, most of us, because the Serbian partner didn't show up. And it was a bit strange to work on the programming, to work on the, on the things that we have to work without having all on board. But I said it happens sometimes. Maybe it is just a small problem, but the small problem just appeared again and again in the next online meetings. And effectively, what we discussed at the first meeting relating negotiations of the fees of the films, the guest, how we will shift actually the main for films, and then we will add other films targeted on the audience that we have, each of us in each territory. Everything was, just a discussion. Nothing was implemented as we discussed. So in terms of, it's always better to have not recordings because we are not at the police, but still to have put down everything and also to confirm with the partners. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it was a misunderstanding, and of course things can be corrected if you talk, I think. So the communication is the key, actually. With the financial aspect, this is the most burden. Why? Because so the project took place in these two, in Belgrade and Bucharest. The papers are still somewhere. That means also the budget is not clear. Of course, I mean, we didn't end the project yet because all of us, we will have one debate. So the debate in each venue is streamed in the other venue. So in a way, we will have also the Prague discussion and the Amsterdam discussion in our cinema. So we will have also, let's say, the possibility to make also something in those two days. But still, everything was done because I was. And yeah, thanks God I was not ill because we had, of course, we had a cinema, so nobody else can program something there if I didn't allow it because it's my contract there, so I am programming there. But for instance, the translations of the films, the guests that are transferred from the airport to the accommodation itself. So all of these were solved just because I'm there and I paid. Most of the costs are paid by me, and I don't think this is the aim with such a big project. I also have to say that I'm a head of a festival, which is organized in 7 countries at the same time. So I really don't understand why such a small project, in my opinion, compared with my project, Film O'Clock, has such big problems. And I think it's just because of this problem of, let's say, administration of some of cinemas that can be maybe not private companies, but under ministry, for instance, or under local authorities, because I saw that some other colleagues have also this issue. I don't know if this happens with a lot of papers, but yeah, this happened in our case. Of course, when you see pictures from the event, and also the film directors were very thankful and grateful. They really appreciate also the discussions. So they didn't, like feel everything that was behind. But I really think that everything could have been done much better, of course. And one is when you don't have financial support and you do, okay, let's do what we can with these little resources. And one, we have the potential to have the resources, but, it's too difficult to sign some papers, actually, and to let the things to be done. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's more specific for my case. Maybe you are employees, or maybe you are also owners of your own cinema, so maybe it's something different. But maybe when you partner with somebody like us, it could be an issue. If you have questions, yeah, thank you.
No, well, wait, just in case, yeah. Yeah.
It's very honest, a very honest presentation. That was very nice. I was just wondering, could you tell a bit more about what the project is? Mm-hmm. What does it?
Yeah, so the project actually had the debates as the core, the debates on European values. It was inner threats of democracy. It was nationalism and something with ecological topics. So each of us would choose a topic, a burden topic, to debate, and then to curate a program with 3 or 4 films, which actually are on this topic that you choose, and other 4 films, which we co-curate together without the Serbian partner, but the 3 of us, we chose the 4 films, which shift and travel in the 4 cities. Only the other 4 films were selected by each cinema because they know the audience and they know better how to do. So a really nice project, actually. Yeah.
Any more questions?
No comment.
Okay, so thank you, Mirona.
Thank you.
Thank you again. So now, as you can see in the program, like between